All right, I think we'll probably go ahead and get started. Jalen?
Yeah, hi there. Thanks everyone for attending. I'm going to get one thing out of the way right away. I want to say a giant, big thank you for parents who opted to donate their registration fee that was due back to them. This is not something I could have ever expected. We had 92% of the parents donated back to the scholarship financial assistance fund. So that is a number that I couldn't have imagined. So thank you very much. That is a significant amount that's going to go directly to helping our families that's been impacted by COVID. So I want you to know that as a group that you guys were absolutely amazing. So thank you so much. For those of you who requested funds back to you, those envelopes were mailed yesterday morning, so you should be receiving that. And so regardless of what you requested, our junior family has been just absolutely wonderful. Thank you for your patience. And so I want to lead with that. Shay, do we have anything specific you want me to cover?
We'll get into that a little bit. Just wanted to welcome everybody. This is our second parent Zoom meeting. This is typically the time that we also meet with our coaches on a weekly basis. And so we do have our coaches on here as well. Our goal is to, update everyone on where we're at, because I know it's been several weeks since we last communicated, and a lot has happened since then. So like Jalen said, one, just want to remind everybody that we do have our juniors developmental rapids teams, as well as I do believe we have one of our competitive PSPL teams on here as well. So two different levels, but what Jalen was referring to are the rapids players and parents that donated back theirs. As far as the PSPL competitive parents, and I spoke with Nick Bond, who's on here, our 2010s, because they will be U11 next year, actually in the next meeting. And so they're not on here, and I think Nick is the only one here. Do we have Nick or some of your parents on here?
I saw one, maybe two.
Okay. So just to update all of you as well, the club has decided at this point that we are not going to continue with the plan of the PSPL Summer League for a number of reasons. One, there's still a lot of uncertainty surrounding that. They are at the point that it would be their third option that they laid out, which is in July 11th. Hopefully we're in phase 4 by then, but still not certain, as well as we know not all the clubs in the area are planning to participate in that. And so there's some uncertainty as far as the competition. So with that, we are closing out the 2019-2020 season, and everything now will be moving forward into our 2020-2021 season. So information regarding the options as far as credit refund or donation will be coming to those PSPL competitive families shortly. Jalen, do you want to touch on that? Or are you good?
Well, we won't go too much into that because most of our families who's on now, we've already gone through that process when Rapids canceled their league. So and I will make sure that Nick gets all the information he needs along with the other teams. So right now we need to.
So then I'll go into the return to play protocols then. But the first thing that I want to do is introduce our Surf Juniors director, Andrew Craig. It's been a recent transition from Chad Carlson. And so he's been transitioned and integrating into this position very well. Been a good support for the coaches already. And so Andrew, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and any comments?
Sure.
Hi, everybody. So I've been the U11, U12 technical director. So coming down and working with the juniors, I'm pretty excited about, and it's I think a good transition to be able to do that. Being able to get the kids the skills and the development that they need to go on to the next level. Um, I'm excited about it, and I think it will be good. So if there's anything you ever need, just email me, and yeah, be willing to help everybody out.
All right, thank you, Andrew. So one of the things that we did want to discuss with everyone, we know that the spring leagues are no longer happening, and we are getting into the summer months where training at this age is, depending on the teams and the level of the teams varies, but we do have some that do train during the summertime. And with that, I wanted to walk through our return to play protocols. We are in phase 2 currently, where there is some guidance that we could have small group trainings up to 4 players and a coach. However, the issue that we're coming across right now is that all of the facilities that we utilize are not opening until phase 3. So that's all the city parks, that's all of the school districts, that's all the colleges that are offline. And so right now we currently don't have places to train. We are open to, if there's anyone out there who has connections, that if they could reach out to their coach and let them know, then they can pass that along. There's a lot of really important factors that go into our ability to have players train, and a big part of that is the liability and the insurance. So certainly would need to be something that we run through our organization to make sure that we are good to go there and that everyone's covered. So if we get to the point where we have the ability to train, we are going to require a waiver. And if you can go to your screen here, we have the waiver up here that will have each the players and the coaches sign. And there's several protocols that we'll also need to go through, which I'm just going to take a few minutes to walk through because it's not just as easy as being able to get out on the field. The sources through this are through U.S. Soccer, through several of the leagues, and it's pretty consistent across the board if teams are going to be training on the protocols that they need to adhere to. So I'm basically going to go through. If you could scroll up, Keith, we'll just start right before we get to the before and the after. And so before any players are able to train, they must be registered with Eastern Washington Surf. So especially now that we are moving into the 2020-2021 season, they'll have to have completed registration. Any players who are feeling sick or with the higher temperature than normal, they should not attend. If they have asthma or any other health conditions that make them susceptible to COVID-19, we ask that they not participate at this time. Carpooling is not permissible with anyone other than who you live with. And parents are not allowed to congregate at the field. They need to watch from a minimum of 300 feet, and in their cars would be preferred. No congregation of player zones at any time in the immediate area of the training facility. And then with some of these facilities, when they do open, their restrooms may not be open. A lot of them are looking to get porta potties, things like that. So do encourage to use the restroom before coming. The players must wear a mask before and after the sessions. They can have them off during the training sessions, as well as the coaches will be wearing masks to and from as well. Players must sanitize their hands before and after the sessions, and we know coaches will have that at the training sites. So on the field, all the sessions will need to be conducted outdoors. The groups in Washington are limited to 4 players and a coach, so it'll be small group training. And the coaches will sanitize all equipment and themselves before training. And the cones will be placed 10 feet apart in the player area. So the coaches will be the only ones that handle the equipment. The players will remain 10 feet apart during the training session, so it's all going to be individual technical work. They may not touch any of the equipment with hands or head, just their feet only. Players must stay at a minimum of 40 yards away from any other group. So if we have a small group, need to make sure that there's plenty of distance from another small group. And we don't want players touching each other, especially we know they're going to be excited to see each other and wanting to hug and high five and things. So we need to make sure that they don't do that at this time. Any of the training pennies that they wear will be one-time use and will be washed after. Team snacks or shared drinks, those are going to be strictly prohibited. Water breaks will be individual as opposed to the full group going over to get water. And the use of any water fountains is prohibited, so each player needs to bring their own water bottle. And at this time, training will not include any scrimmages. It'll just be the individual technical work. And parents may provide, a small spray bottle if they'd like for their players' equipment. Guidelines, because they'll be in small groups, we'll have players training and then a group that will enter into the area. They may not enter the area until the other group has left. There will be a minimum of 10 minutes in between the groups to allow for that changeover. And while the parents the player area, a player may only stay in their designated cone, and players must put on gear before entering the training area. And may not remove the gear until leaving the training area. So here's kind of a sample training area to just show that social distancing that will take place. And then players not following the guidelines will be a warning. Second offense will be removal from training. Third offense will be removal until after all state restrictions have been lifted. And the same goes for coaches as well. We'll have a couple of our staff members that will be monitoring, making sure everybody is adhering to the protocols on that. And we just ask for everybody's support through this. These are guidelines that we have to adhere to that have come from other organizations as well. And I know if some of the players have been watching any of the MLS, they can see the professional players are also coming to training sessions and things with their masks. So that's something with the little ones if they don't quite understand. I think that's a reference that you could share with them. So I know that it seems like a lot, and with us not playing games over the summer and being in the younger age groups, some of the teams may not choose to do any training in phase 2, even if we do have facilities open up to us. Likely most teams are going to be in phase 3. And some may wait even until phase 4 to when all of these restrictions are lifted with the social distancing. So that's something that will be communicated through a team by team basis. But we did want to share. This is going to be posted online as well. We did just want to share so that everybody's aware of what that's going to look like when we do get to the field during phase 2 and into phase 3. The one thing that I do really want to make clear is that we certainly support any players who do not feel comfortable training during this time. That's certainly a family choice, and communicating that with your coach will certainly support you during that time and try to provide training opportunities for your player that they could be doing if their team is training. So any questions about that? I know it's a lot, probably pretty overwhelming, especially for these younger ones. But this is, as organized sports are getting back to the fields, these are all the protocols that they're having to adhere to. Any questions? Any questions, parents? Any questions, coaches? I know we shared this with the coaches last week, so they're aware. Pretty quiet on that front. So that's the the seasons, return to play. Jalen, do you want to touch base? I know we had Hold the Spot. You want to touch base on registration and what that's going to look like?
So thank you everyone for completing the Hold My Spot. Coaches and directors are right now combing through the final Hold My Spot registration report that I supplied, and they will formalize their teams. I will get a completed roster, and you will receive an email from me. Sorry about the sun coming into the office here. I'll send out a formal invite for you to all register officially to kick off the 2021 season. So first thing is, if you have not heard from your coach, make sure to reach out. You can even reach out to me. I'll make sure that I confirm a team that you're placed on. And then once I receive a roster, then you will receive a invitation to officially register for the next season. So really simple process. You've done it before last year. So if you have any questions, now is time to ask. Otherwise, we are moving along.
That somebody asked if that applies to stage 3 or just to stage 2. That is a private message, but there will be several of those same protocols in stage 3 as well, but they will change a bit. So, okay, Keith, who has been, he is our communications and engagement director. If you want to talk about social media and the online resources that are available to our players.
Yep, and that's like Shay said. We understand that some teams may not be able to find training facilities until all the other facilities open. We understand that some kids may not be able to participate, or families may not want to participate, and that's absolutely fine. So we'll still have all of the online resources. We have a lot of the technical exercises. I know that we've done a few for the juniors on the YouTube channel, as well as Yvonne and Andrew are going to start academy training. And that's going to be virtual for the time being, just because in stage 2, there's no way that we can get a group big enough to facilitate in-person academy training on the same field. So that'll be virtual starting on Monday via Facebook Live. And then that video will be available on our social media, so that the kiddos that can't come out to the field or aren't comfortable coming out to the field can still train. And we'll still encourage our coaches as they do small group training to still do some of the Zoom sessions and reach out and make sure that they're staying engaged with everybody.
Okay, great. And then Keith, do you also want to talk about uniforms?
Yep. So I'm gonna work with Andrew and Jalen and everybody from Columbia Basin and Palouse to figure out uniforms. Uniforms for all the juniors kids are included in their fees. So you guys won't see the soccer.com invites in case you have older kids. They'll start seeing those pretty soon if they haven't seen them already. We are going to move away from the double-sided jerseys, just because the feedback that we got is that, especially during the early months in the fall season, or if we are able to play summer tournaments, the 17 layers of material is just way too warm for the kids. So we are looking at different options. And that'll likely be based on level. So we're going to try to keep them as close as possible to the older kids' uniforms. It'll just be through a different source than soccer.com.
Okay. I think those are most of the main topics that we wanted to cover today. There is a chat on here that if anybody has any questions that they'd like to put in there, feel free, or if you want to just ask straight away. But I think those are kind of the main topics of what to expect. I do know that most of the teams are pretty close to having their teams finalized. I do know that I recognize some names here that are new to the club and looking to be placed as well. So those communications, especially in this juniors age will continue to happen and through the summer as well. So.
Hey, Shay, I have a question.
Yes.
This is more maybe coach-wise, but is the same process going to be able to request field locations as we've done before?
Yes. So that the regular season will always go through Kerry Chester, and so he'll provide what's available at what locations. And at this point, all of our current locations that we train at are all offline. But as we go into phase 3, most of those will become available. So those requests will go to Kerry Chester.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm. All right. Any other questions?
Hey, Shay, I've got one too.
Sure.
This is kind of more towards Keith. The online or the virtual academies that are going to be placed. Did I hear that right? That they're going to be on Facebook Live?
Yep. Facebook Live. We're still working on setting it up.
Okay.
Go ahead.
For those who don't have social media, and myself included, never have, and kind of stay away from it, are we going to be able to access that?
I should be able to. I've got to see with Brooke, who runs our social media, how we can save the video and then email it or put it on a drive or YouTube or something to do that. But yeah, we are tracking that. Not everybody's on social media.
I'll go into the system tonight and see if I'm able to attach videos and send it out to specific teams if a coach would like to have it delivered. Let me just go and see what options I have through Sports Engine also.
Okay. And that's a good segue to, if you are on social media, to definitely like and our pages, because there's, especially since COVID, Keith has done, and our social media team has done an incredible job of keeping players active and sharing information on there. So if you haven't checked it out yet, please do. And any other questions? Quiet group.
Just a caveat on the Facebook stuff, Shay, real quick. We will make sure that it's public, which means, if you've got any kids or neighbors or friends that may be interested in the club, it's no cost for us for them to watch it and participate as well. But also, if you're not on social media, if we make the video public, you don't have to have an account or anything. We should be able to just shoot you a link, and you'll be able to view the video.
Okay. Well, I think if there aren't any other questions, I think we covered all the topics, and hopefully everybody's feeling, informed, up to speed, informed and up to speed. We certainly are, still going to continue interacting with the coaches every Wednesday. So any more updates will come from them that can be communicated out. But we wanted a chance to also provide some updates to the families and an opportunity for any questions. Any questions?
Yeah, Shay, I'm sorry. I missed the last coaches meeting, so it's probably all been covered. But when's the I guess our best estimate of when we're going to go to stage 3 and maybe be able to get out in the fields?
So what we do know is that it has to be 3 weeks. The 3 weeks from the date that they went into phase 2 would be June 12th. I think through the communications that we're hearing, it's unlikely that we'll move into phase 3 at that time. So honestly, I couldn't really give you an idea other than it's likely that it's not going to happen on June 12th. So I don't know if that means it'll be pushed out a week or 2 weeks or what that will look like. So that's the $1 million question. I wish we had a better idea.
Best case scenario, June 12th. Worst case scenario, later.
Correct. Yep, that's about all we can give. And the one thing that I do want to reiterate is, the facilities are closed. We cannot have any organized surf trainings on those facilities. That's any of the city fields, Dwight Merkel South Complex, Franklin Park, any school district fields, the SEC or SFCC, and Plants Ferry are all offline. We have been notified by those facilities that we cannot have any teams training on that. So definitely making sure everybody is aware of that. We'll also have that list posted with our return to play online as well, of which facilities those are. So
if
definitely.
I can just piggyback on that, even if you see other teams or other players, coaches, what appears to be an organized practice, please don't get out of the field. Nothing worse than getting a phone call saying, we know it's your team or your club members. So please, let's respect, our policies and make sure that we are able to get back on the field as a club together. And so we don't get a third warning. That would be great. Thank you, everyone.
So, okay. Well, got some banter going on here on the chat. So, okay. Well, I think that's all we have. Any questions, please go ahead and direct to your coaches. If it's anything administratively, reach out to Jaylyn. Otherwise, we appreciate everybody taking the time to be on this call today. So,
thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Shay. Thank you, Keith, Jaylyn, everybody, Craig.
Have a good night.